Hello and welcome to Here's to Your Health. I'm your host, Veggie Patty, and it is my pleasure to bring you information on healthy living. On today's episode, we have guest Cecilia Bencher. She is a registered yoga instructor and she's here from Yoga for Peace. So welcome to the show, Cecilia.
Thank you for having me.
So this is what we call the yoga show. So it's all about yoga. So why don't you tell us what is yoga, first of all?
Yoga primarily is a way to bring your body, your mind, your intentions all into alignment. Oftentimes we feel very scattered by the way that our lives are, forced to be conducted. We have a lot of things going on, and yoga is a way for us just to slow the pace down a little bit and bring everything into alignment. It gives us our quiet time. It's really an opportunity to reset.
Okay, so where did yoga originate from and how long has it been in practice?
Yoga is said to be about 5,000 years old. It was developed primarily as a system of easing the body originally. There were spiritual leaders, spiritual advocates that would find a need to meditate often. They would find a need to meditate for long periods of time, and they were noticing they were having problems being able to ease the body and being able to be okay in that space. So yoga came about as a system to ease the full consciousness, to ease the mind, so it was away from all that overstimulation that they were living in. It was a way to ease the body and bring things into focus a little bit for them. So they started noticing that when their body was okay, when they were clear of the tensions and of the stresses, that they were able to sit and easily meditate. So it came quite a long time ago. And it was followed by a man named Patanjali who actually wrote Yoga Sutras. There is just a set of ways to live your life, to conduct your life, and as well ways to conduct your yoga practice. Yoga in itself means to yoke or bring together. And again, bring together the spiritual with the physical, with the mental. So he wrote down sets of living, ways to live and ways to conduct yourself and ways to reach your ultimate truth. So it's a worthwhile read if you ever have a chance to check out the Yoga Sutras. It'll give you a little bit more explanation as to what his philosophies were. And he was the one who brought the main part of the information out to us. And it was then followed up by our modern day yogis, the more well-known to our exercise and our yoga movements like the Iyengars and the Pattabhi Joises and the big names in India. So they were just kind of took a little bit from his writing, and it's yoga as we know it today.
Okay, and so for somebody who's new to yoga, would you say maybe it's like a blend of meditation and exercise? Would that be an accurate description?
Absolutely. There's a sense that we need to get more in contact with our bodies to be able to clear our minds, because I think in this culture it's often the opposite way. We're trying to really think of ways to get through this moment and through this situation and through these circumstances, and yoga can allow your mind to quiet, which allows your instincts to arise, our natural abilities to arise. And it's a little bit different from the way that we live in this culture, but it'll allow you again to just slow down and come at your situations from a different place.
Okay.
So it's beneficial in a lot of ways.
Okay, so now what are some, and you've already discussed some of those, but what are some results that people might see from yoga or some benefits people would get? Like why would somebody choose to do yoga?
That's a difficult one I wouldn't even know where to begin. Initially, we never have an off switch. We never have a time. A lot of us, even in our sleeping hours, we're not at peace. We're very restless. There's never a time for us to quiet everything, to really get back to being attentive in our situation. So yoga allows us a space. Normally now, the way that we do it here is we come together in a yoga studio or a quiet place and we practice calming our mind. So the benefit begins with really getting our neurological bodies in order first. We're able to slow down, we're able to take a look inside, and then you start noticing that although you've undergone traumas, surgeries, very, very real traumas in our bodies, yoga allows you again to approach it from a different angle and energetically clear these spaces. Yoga is 90% what's going on in your mind and your breath. So it really allows you, and like I said, it's almost a therapeutic place to come.
Okay.
Even though that place can be right in your mind. So it
Okay.
allows you to slow down.
Now, there are many different types of yoga. Can you talk to me about a couple of the different types? 'Cause I know a lot of people hear about, like most of the people hear about the hot room yoga, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. But there's other
Yeah.
types of yoga. So what's available to people?
Yoga in itself is anything that leaves you in a conscious mode, first of all. So when you start to search different types of yoga, you'll get the different asanas or the different postures of yoga, the different styles and movement. So you'll see that there are a hatha yoga that might be a straightforward movement. You might get a vinyasa yoga that might be a very flowy movement, different, maybe more beneficial to the joints. You might hear of all different sorts of, there are very militant styles, there are very passive styles, and then there are very deep and slow styles, like a deep yin yoga. But when you really get into the nuts and bolts of what yoga is at its base level, it really is anything that will connect what we need to be connected, our mind, or like I mentioned before. So there are base styles of yoga. We have karma yoga, that is the yoga of going out and being of service. There's bhakti yoga, which is a yoga that I practiced before I ever even got into a yogic posture. It's the yoga of devotion. It's yoga of devotion to that light inside you, and it really does allow you to notice the light inside everybody else. So there's so much to be said about the different kinds of yoga, because there are internal yogas as well as the external practices. So visit any studio and you can just sit and talk forever about the different benefits and the different kinds of yoga that you can do, just all in your own space. So I hope that helped.
Okay. Well, let's say somebody just from off the street decided that they wanted to try yoga, and they walked into a yoga studio that's out there, they walked into Yoga for Peace.
Sure.
And they've never experienced it before. What would you recommend to somebody who's really never experienced yoga and they just said, I just want to try it and see what it's all about? What's the type of class that would be best for a beginner?
I would recommend that you go into a yoga studio where the teacher has some sort of initial intake questions. Basically saying, do you have serious injuries? And that would never exclude you from yoga. It would just mean that you may need a chair yoga. You may need something that's supported, that's going to really take care of all the parts of your body, and not strain you as much. Or if you're a fairly well off and you're okay and you feel like, I just want to experience what's going on out there in all these yoga studios, we might start you out in a level 1. And the yoga teachers, I can't say that I've ever been to a yoga studio where the teacher wasn't able to take a look at you and assess where you are in that first class. There are modifications for every one of the postures that we would call difficult. There are always modifications. So your teacher really will take a look at you in the postures, they'll make your modifications, and you kind of go from there. And there is everything from seated yoga, chair yoga, there's wall yogas, there's everything up to the most advanced and really intense yogas, like the hot yogas. They're really intense, and it's fun. It's fun to play with and find what fits you. And any yoga teacher will take as much time as you need to help you either customize a workout for you or to help you find a good class, help you find something that's really for you.
Okay, now speaking about yoga teachers, what types of training, because you're a yoga instructor, so how long have you been one, and then what type of training is required for somebody to be a yoga instructor?
I went through my training through Yoga for Peace. It was about 3 years ago, and Yoga Alliance is a foundation that sets up criteria for different tiers of yoga teaching. Yoga 200 Hour would go through anatomy classes. They go through philosophy classes. You learn a little bit about where yoga came from. You learn a lot about how to help adjust people. You learn how to do the intake, how to do the initial questioning, and how to run a yoga class and how to take care of yourself as you're doing it, because you have a lot of expended energy and things like that. You would, as long as you're meeting that criteria under a qualified school, that's the best way to go about it before you go out. You make sure that you're licensed and you're registered and you're safe, and you go out there and do your thing. And Yoga for Peace is the one that I went through.
Okay. So now you do chair yoga, correct? That's one of the things you teach?
Yeah.
Could you do a little demo to show the viewers what chair yoga is?
Sure. In traditional yoga classes, you would be unsupported, standing, and you would go through a series of postures that allow you to use more of your stabilizing muscles and things like that. Chair yoga allows people who are of limited mobility, or we have patients, I work with patients who are going through cancer and things like that, who need the stability of the chair because their muscles aren't working right, or they're hyper flexible and things like that. So a standard yoga posture would be anything that is comfortable, where you can come to the edge of your chair, sits bones, those prominences at the bottom of your hip are pressing in, and you develop your own postures based on what the teacher's recommendations are. You would go into twists that would aid digestion and things like that. You would enter any twist. There are so many variations of the twists, followed by basic wide standing side bends that would help to break up all the things that you broke up through the twist. This help to clear them out. So there are sequences that, again, if you're following instruction from a yoga teacher, they can walk you through the benefits and what pose would be beneficial for after. There are ways to get into your hips so you're not excluding your lower body from working out as well, where we would end up taking the ankle of the left foot onto the heel of the right, onto the thigh of the right, coming to a tall seat. And this might be plenty enough stretch for anybody who's dealing with lower body issues. Then you, again, choosing your experience, you would have a flat back, forward fold, and it is a very aggressive stretch through the hips and things like that. You could have a flat back to get aggressively through the hips, or a rounded back that would be creating more space through that lower lumbar spine, which a lot of people, especially if you're required to take medication, a lot of those toxins end up collecting through the lower lumbar. They're such dense vertebrae, it's so hard to get them any movement in there. So everything is, although we're going through postures, the stretch begins with the inner breath. So we would do a lot of breath work in a seated yoga class. Moving in and out of the postures very carefully so as not to stress the joints is a huge focus for us. So going and visiting, even though these look as if they're simple to do at home, and they are, you can learn how to do them at home, but visiting a studio and actually being walked through the postures is always the most beneficial, and it's always the most safe. Okay. So those would be some of the more basic moves. There's hundreds, but
great. So now you
quick.
Yeah, so now you also brought some yoga students here that can demonstrate some of the standing poses,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so why don't we bring them out, and you can walk them through some of the poses so people can get an idea of what some yoga is about.
This is Sam and Vanessa, and they'll be going through some standing postures. This is a sun salute. So we'll have them inhale, always linking the breath with the movement. Inhale, arms up. They're demonstrating two different forms of yoga. Forward folds, clearing out the kidneys, coming up halfway, exhaling down. Right leg steps back for full body work, again cleansing the kidneys. Legs back, down to chaturanga, and coming up to up dog. Full body workout through the arms and legs, pressing back to down dog. Coming up, slight inversion, great stretch through the back. Lower body work, inhaling up halfway. Exhaling down, and reverse swan dive. Head lifts, strong back, strong legs, grabbing the energy above you, bringing it right down, heart center. So that's another variation of postures that they're doing, can also be done in the chair. They're just done differently. We're going to run through it one more time. The first time we go through the posture, it's linking the breath to the movement. There's always different focuses that you can have in the postures. We can work on saying, this one relieves blood pressure, the forward fold. Forward fold, forward bend is the kidneys. This is good for lungs and liver. Down to chaturanga is all pretty much muscular through the chest and back. This is for adrenals and gallbladder. Pressing back is heart, mind. It's great for cognitive function. And again, going back through it, first liver, forward fold is for kidneys, blood pressure, kidneys, and reverse swan dive. Bringing everything back and grabbing energy, bringing it right back to your heart center. So it's just a slight taste.
Well, thank you so much, Sam and
Thank
Vanessa,
you.
for coming out. So great. So I think the viewers now have some idea of what yoga might look like, and some of them have probably seen it and just had
Yeah.
an experience for themselves. So tell us a little bit about Yoga for Peace, because it's different because it's a nonprofit, first of all, and it's also a yoga school, which a lot of people don't realize.
Exactly. I think that's the most exciting part for us is we have a yoga school downriver that can qualify teachers to go out and teach and to get your qualifications, get a lot of learning under your belt, and really be able to branch out to the people who really need it, who really, it's donation based. So we are nonprofit. You come in and you donate what you can, you donate when you can, but nobody's excluded. We have all the props for you, all the tools that you need, and the mats and all of the fun stuff to make sure that you're in every posture safely. Nobody's ever left out, So one of the things that we're proud about is we're continually running the sessions for teacher trainers, and what's really exciting is every class is filling up, and it's great to know that it's a new thing. It's a new level. It feels to me it's a new level of energy that we're raising up with. So it's nice to see. We're glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, so you're the school, and you offer the classes, then the teachers that come in volunteer their time to teach these classes, which are donation based.
Yes.
Not the teacher training, that's a little bit different, but to actually do the yoga classes. Now, as a nonprofit then, how do you guys raise money to keep this model going so that people don't have to worry about financial?
We run workshops almost every week, and we have a calendar on our website, and it will let you know all the different, we have a lot of exciting things that are coming to Yoga for Peace and at all the different local the different yoga studios we have. If you're looking to get involved in anything yoga, it's great to find one of our local yoga studios. And Yoga for Peace has, like I mentioned, on our calendar, all the events, the workshops that are coming up. We have fundraisers through the year. The workshops, the donations that come into the workshops, Yoga for Peace gets a cut of that, which helps a lot. And we have our teacher training, which helps us bring money. We have one big gala per year, or one big unity fundraiser per year. And we just had our Unity in the Park, so that helps, and every little bit helps. Anybody who can come into the studio, who wants to donate, who's able to donate, we're glad to have it.
Right. So if somebody's interested in taking a class, and they can come in, and you guys, I'm sure you have some suggested donations for the classes, but if you're not able to afford that, then you can pay what you want to donate if you can afford to donate something at all.
Absolutely.
So
You're always asked if you're donating today. It's never, what are you donating? We're very careful about keeping the verbiage open, and it's really not about that. Luckily, we have enough help and enough people coming in to where we're able to do it. So it's good.
Great. Well, that's a great model to have, and it's something different than you would have at a traditional yoga studio. So so it's really what they're trying to do is make yoga accessible to everyone, regardless of your financial limitations or even physical limitations. Like you said, you can have different types of yoga for different people.
Exactly.
So now, you actually mentioned that you just had your Unity in the Park, which is one of your fundraisers.
Yes.
And that's Kiwanis Park in Southgate. And I actually was there this weekend, and I filmed some footage from the Unity in the Park. So what we're going to do is we're going to show the audience some footage from Unity in the Park, and they can check out the vendors that were there, the yoga classes that were occurring, and also the little train that was part of the Unity in the Park for the children. So check out our footage, and we'll be right back in just a minute. Okay, well, hope that you enjoyed that footage of the Unity in the Park. And I wanted to thank you again, for Cecilia, for being on the show with us today. And thank Sam and Vanessa for coming out here as well.
Thank you.
So
It's nice to have this to bring our information out.
Yeah. So if people want any additional information about yoga, they can go to your website, or they can stop by and visit your studio and talk to one of the yoga instructors there and find out a class that would work for them.
Absolutely.
Great. So I just wanted to remind everybody that regardless of your current state of health or the cards you were dealt, you have the power to take charge of your health. So never give up and never stop learning. The solution you seek may be just around the corner. I'd like to ask you to join me in a toast to the viewers. This is some cucumber juice. So we wish you a wonderful today and an even better tomorrow. Here's to your health.